Testing, testing. Welcome to my office. Today we're going to go over the information technology, IT, part of programming, coding, developing. Because as a general, I mean, for beginners too, because this is one of the biggest kind of mountains to climb over when it comes to, hey, I like the logic and code and I can create loops and I can create things, but sometimes when I'm trying to set up my environment, man, stuff doesn't work, or I just can't do it, or there's a different version, or something's going weird. It really depends on the language, but I'm going to give a kind of broad scope of what to know how to access on your computer so you can essentially configure things correctly. And the reason behind those configurations, right? You can probably find a tutorial on what to do to set up Python 3.10 with the environmental variables, but what does that actually mean to you when you do it? Like, what does it actually pertain? What's the functionality of what I'm doing? So those are the things that I haven't seen a lot of tutorials making sense of. But in the end, we're gonna go over it. It's gonna be a beginning section. It's almost like pre-programming, but it is still in the realm of, hey, I'm learning to program, but I'm having difficulties with like setting up my own developmental developing environment. So I'm gonna test a few things out, just to make sure my stream's good. Sometimes things get funky. I got the mic. I'm gonna probably put some music on too, right? A little bit of background. A little bit of background. Oh, I was gonna sneeze, but what? That was a sneeze that was interrupted by something. Ah, all right. Anyway, as we continue. So the first thing, no, not the first thing, yeah, right? We gone? No, hold on. Let me throw in some of my non-DRM AI tracks over here. Samsen, Simasen, or just old thing. Go for it. No, not that one. I'm just gonna be skipping some of them. All right. So, it's not bad. I think the audio should be pretty background. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get into it real quick. The first thing you need to do is know that the computer has a particular set of variables in itself. So not only do you know maybe programming variables, keywords that store certain useful blocks of information, whether it's tokens, whether it's directories, whether it's strings, whether it's numerical values. They just get stored somewhere on your programming language that you would reuse over and over. But the computer itself has these as well. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it. Hold on. I got a little too in the way for a moment there. Um, so we have something called environmental variables. How do you access this? Well, I'll show you in Windows 10. Windows 11 should be similar, but it does seem that Windows progressively gets worse and worse with its technical advancements to the user. I feel like they might progressively go in the future with a development version of Windows and then a home version of Windows and then a professional for the office version of Windows because it seems like they're really trying to separate things. So personally, I like 10. I'm keeping 10. They can have 11, they can have 12, they can have 13. That's fine. I'll patch my own Windows. In fact, futuristically, I might just put Windows behind a Linux virtual box just for compatibility cases. Otherwise, I'm just not gonna be upgrading to the next Windows, and I don't recommend it. You do what you want to do. But to me, it seems like they're just getting a little bit too antsy about pushing people to upgrade. It's like Apple trying to push people to upgrade by having a software update to kill your battery life. It's getting a little sus, right? They're just trying to keep the investors happy, and it's starting to be obvious. So, how do you access the variables that we just spoke about a minute ago before I got distracted? right? Let's check it out. So in Windows, you have access to them through the searching of the settings control panel. Best way is just open up your search space, go to type in environment, and you'll have the variables right there. Now, this opens up a system properties window, which is not the variables yet, but this is a great place to actually tweak some of your performance on Windows. If you have an older machine, I'm just gonna literally teach you all the technicals behind every little step, the useful steps, not everything. But if you have an older machine that you seem to be running slow, right? This is a normal thing I would do to speed up someone's computer alongside maybe 10 other things in the background, startup applications, um, registry cleaning, and all that kind of extra technical stuff. But the main thing you can do with like Windows that gets a little too slow on an older machine, like maybe Windows 11, is to go to performance and tweak some of these animations and graphics, right? This will absolutely boost the speed of your Windows system, but you will see a visual degrade. That's kind of the idea is the visual shininess of it is what's bogging your computer down. I came from like Windows XP. We didn't have all these extra flashy windows going big and small and then being transparent, and I don't really care for them that much. They're cute, but I don't really care for all the extra bells and whistles, right? If I can get my computer to run super fast, double click opens up instantly, log in, logs in instantly, like that is more beneficial to me than, oh, look, my Windows computer looks pretty. Let me show it off or whatever. Like that, I don't care about that. You'll see that I don't even have like the taskbar transparency. And I think maybe I do have that animation there. So I guess I do have some things still enabled. But the performance, visual effects, that's actually super, super useful. Where we're going, however, is environmental variables. Here is interesting. Okay. You see, mine is so messy because I have a lot of different things in here, but try to ignore the noise for a moment, right? On the left side is the variable that basically will host a specific directory. On the right is the value of that directory or IP address or whatever specific variable you want to access through a terminal. So this is the important part here is all the variables here are all being patched into the terminal. That terminal can now use these locations as its primary source when like you type a command. It'll search through these first to try and find, hey, where is this command at, right? So when you, let's say, do a Python, right, installation, I have a couple of Python installations in my paths. The top one is Python 3.11. That's what I normally use for like AI and stuff like that, okay? Notice I have Python 3.11 scripts as well, which is a very weird patch around that I had to do for getting pip to work. For some reason, my pip doesn't always work when I do pip install, yada yada, right? Um, Yada yada. I hope that made sense. So what I noticed is I can just basically put that directory in the path and it'll search for pip locally. So that's a workaround. I don't know why it should automatically kind of patch itself through, but sometimes it doesn't really do it. So what it's going to do is from priority top to bottom, think of HTML and CSS and JavaScript, right? Right, the Windows, the window, the document, the HTML document runs from top to bottom. So well, actually, don't even think of it like that, because in CSS and stuff like that, the last thing that happens will be the thing that's shown. So I wouldn't even call it that direction. But the case is here, it's when it finds an exe that's in the top part of this hierarchy, it's going to run that and then stop searching for the rest of them. So yeah, actually, ignore that first part I was saying. Basically, the thing that you want to search for first, put at the very top. So when I put, let's say, Python right now, 3.11. Now, what if I wanted to change that up? And do I have the other ones? I guess I don't. Let's throw it in here. I think I have 3.9 in here too. No, 3.9. No, was it 3.9? I think it was 3.9. Let's see. Yeah, oh, 3.10, 3.11, 3.12, QT, 3, let's do 3.7. Oh, 2.7. I put 2.7 in, I entered that directory, okay? So I haven't done anything for the case of actually Python's still gonna pop up as 3.11 because it's the top on that list, right? So if I move this to the top, I don't know if it's gonna do it right now, and I might have to restart the terminal. Yeah. So let's check on sequence here. Press OK. Probably won't do it still. Nope. Press OK. Press OK just for the sake of it. Python. Still won't do it. Open up a new terminal. Oh, I didn't close the whole thing down? Because I think it has to load the variables each time you reset. Oh, don't tell me the whole. I think it might be a reset, like log out and log back in to reload the environmental variables. So that's the annoying part. These variables are pretty much tied to the running system of the current moment. So while I can't show you live, now when I restart or log out, log back in, I'll be essentially using Python 27 at the top there. There's going to be a prioritized version to use. Since basically the Python keyword or python.exe is the same word between those two folders. It's just Python exe. The actual version details are based on the files it's attached to. So the folder 27 has all the 27 Python files. The folder 3.11 has all the 3.11 or 3.11 Python files. So Python exe is still the same keyword. That's the thing to remember. The keyword is going to be the one that is reached into first by that top bottom hierarchy. Now I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to put you down here somewhere. What else did I have in here? So sometimes when you install applications, you may see them within this area. As a developer, you see this all the time. You have Go, you have scripts, PHP, NPM for Node.js. It basically gives the running commands that you would use. Again, this space here, I mean, look, I have basically all my technical stuff in here. Visual Studio Code, Olama, FFmpeg, Nmap, NPM, Fabric, which is an AI module, PHP, which is essentially the PHP system, PHP not compiler, interpreter, which we'll get into as well. So it's got basically all the technical stuff. So a regular user is not really going to be here in this spot, in this place. That's important to realize for the most part. Now, when it comes to setting up your environment, it really depends on the environment, right? But there is a standard kind of consistency. Python, for instance, download the Python files. It's a zip file. I mean, you can get an installer to unzip it and place it in a specific directory for you, or just get a zip file, copy and paste it into wherever you want, and then add that folder to this location, and now it's going to patch it through and be able to use it. That's it. That's all the installation really entails. Uh, Same thing with Node.js, but you might have to do a couple of things because Python comes with kind of two pieces, right? It has the Python interpreter, which takes your code and performs the task of that code, which in this case would be Python 3.11. And then it has extra modules to assist, like installing new packages, which is the install command, which is actually in the Python 3.11 scripts folder. That key difference means that even Node.js is going to have a similar altercation. You have the interpreter that will take your code and run it and follow the instructions of what you've written, but then it also has the npm, which is right here, where it'll use the npm package manager to install any packages that you would like to basically configure, install and use in your module, in your code. Now, the tricky part is when you install packages, this is why you have Docker, and this is why you have all these sort of Python environments from Conda. There's a lot of ways you can kind of organize your backends. I don't normally do that much. I just feel like that's just an extra layer. I honestly like to visualize everything in folders. So yeah, having like Honda environment or um, Docker is just kind of another arbitrary level of organization. But I can't see it in folder form, so it kind of like bugs me out a little bit. Um, I guess I'm very visual on that aspect. But having installed a package in Python 3.11 will not have it accessible to Python 2.7 for the obvious reason that compatibility would be an issue, right? Based on the two versions. Now, you would have to reinstall the same package in two places if you're using that same package for both, which is kind of double dipping on the size requirements for your overall system. So that's a bit of a caveat you have to remember. So planning your project, planning what the structure of your project will be, what is necessary for that particular structure, and like which version would be optimum. That's really before you begin. So everything we're doing now is essentially understanding what is the technical part of the programming side of the world. Because it's not just, hey, I'm going to start coding right away and get started, right? Excuse me. So that's number one. Number one, knowing how to access the environmental variables, knowing what they are, knowing how to essentially understand the hierarchy. It's not too crazy to go for, but also understanding that a command that may be existing in two places will only bear the results of the first one that it finds from top to bottom. As soon as it runs Python from 3.11, it does not go down and search for anything else. It just runs that and it doesn't go to 2.7. So if you were trying to manage two things at once, well, unfortunately, you can't switch easy between Python 2.7 to 3.11 unless you do C Python 2.7 and then run it manually this way. Hold on. Is my 2.7 busted? Hold on. Uh, must have been busted from something. Okay, so it was potentially running. So that's another thing is if something doesn't work out well, it'll actually skip it up. So let's go to Python 3.10 then. And then exes. There you go. So 3.10 running in this terminal, 3.11 running in this terminal. That's really all you have to do. So like, yeah, sure, you can have Docker and all that extra stuff. But if you use the terminal, you're kind of comfortable with that sort of partitioning of folders, right? If you know where everything's installed and you're on the technical know-how of your system, you don't need Docker to manage all your stuff. If you don't, then of course, yeah, then you have to learn a whole new system of Docker to basically organize it. Are there actual benefits of using Docker? For sure. Having automated sort of or automated configurations happening and being able to update everything with some couple of commands and all that jazz. But to me, I guess my projects aren't big enough, so I never really cared. But in the end, if you like Docker, you like Docker. If you don't, you do everything manually. So that's basically the aspect of Python, setting that environment up so you can essentially smoothly organize yourself with your code. Because some techniques, like even AI currently, some AI will require 3.09 Python. Some things that you want to do, like let's say, oh, I think I'm having an issue lately trying to configure a music generating AI, and I'm having issue with optimizing it on the Python aspect. There's like a certain version of Python that some of those packages work on, and that's it. End of story. I would have to use those particular packages, which are only compatible with like let's say 3.10. But my 3.11 is the default environment, so I have to configure some stuff in the backend. But then when I do regular AI, like text generation back and forth, I would use 3.11. And when it's image, I think it's 3.10 or 9. So like different projects require different packages And those packages, whether they're consistently updated on a regular basis or not, or they're kind of like finalized at 3.9 or 3.10, then you're kind of stuck with using that highest possible accepted package version, right? If there's no package of like AudioCraft, I think it was called. Let me see. If there's no version for AudioCraft that's available for 3.11 and it only compatible with 3.10, then you have to use 3.10. So you'd have to basically set up an environment with Python 3.10 in order to use that. And that's, I think, essentially the issue of my particular dilemma. Because I think I have like this package that I'm trying to do in Python, AudioCraft or something. And I'm running into like two packages, one's requiring 3.9, the other one 3.10 or some weird. That's the next level of like advanced package management within your like environment. But for the general sense of things, you should be fine. Let's say you want to create Python games. Use Pygame. That has a 3.9, 3.10, 3.11, 3.12 version. Potentially 3.12, I'm not sure. So you can basically use any of those versions. Each one's going to have different features of Pygame. So really find yourself a tutorial online. Or if you want to learn it with a one-to-one tutor, I'm your guy. But generally speaking, that particular version normally has a pretty stable sense of consistent version upgrading with the new Python versions. The only issue is AI because it's such a new environment and everyone's like, oh, I found a way to do this and I found a way to do that. And look at my stuff over here. Look at my agents. Look at my generator. Look at my server. Look at my. And then they're all using different versions and they've all created different things for different versions. So now everyone's kind of like, I have to have 5 different environments of Python just to be able to do kind of a diverse set of tools, right? So it's kind of annoying. But uh, it's unfair. I had that somewhere, man. Audiocraft. Ah. Oh, I can make my own AI voice too. Yeah, Audiocraft would be great. That's my next project, is setting up like a local AI model system to create audio. So I need Torch. Okay, so here's the case scenario, right? Python pip install Torch equals double equals 2.10. You might need the following before trying to install the package. Cool. Python m pip install setup wheel. Great. You know what? Let's go for it. Because honestly, this is going to be the bane of my existence here. So let's say I want to do this, right? Python m pip. That's the case to using that pip in the scripts folder for the package manager directly through Python. There's basically two commands. The original command is just pip install the package you want. But sometimes, for whatever reason, the installation or the process of installing it doesn't register in the command line. So right now, if I put pip, oh, am I in? See, pip is not defined. Zip? That's the thing I've had. I put the scripts in there. What do you mean it's not defined? Pip install? Oh, wait, because I'm inside of that. Okay, pip. There we go. There's pip in a general sense, what it does. I can do pip install and then the package I want. Or I can use Python, which is the currently accepted or the current first version defines in the environmental variables, which is 3.11, that version of Python, and then use a module -m pip, which is just basically calling that same command we did over here, and then install. And then I want to install the torch. I think I already have that installed, or there was an issue. Oh, come on. Okay. Uh, so let's see if we can set this up actually. So by the time this ends, you'll be essentially able to also set up your own audio AI engine on your system. If we successfully get to it, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be hunting down some troubleshooting processes. I think the wheel's not going to install, or what the heck is it, man? What's this? What is it going to be? Come on. Come on. Let's put some music on a high here, because it's going to be a focused session here. Yeah, I already had 2.6 installed. Huh. So we are uninstalling Torch 2.6, successfully uninstalled. Yeah, and what do you do next, buddy? Resolver does not currently take into account all packages that are installed. This behavior, the source of following dependency conflict. Okay, Flux, which is not installed. Requires Torch Vision, which is not installed. Torch 2.6 requires Torch. This is the thing. This is it. I need one version of this and then another version that's compatible with Xformers, and then Flux 0 requires Torch Vision, but Torch Vision requires Torch, but Xformers requires Torch 2.6, but I have 2.1, but they're telling me I need 2.1. So let me try the next step that they're saying. You might need these. So sometimes it is just a case of installing the right order of things. So let's see. Pip install setup tool. Since we're here, and since I tangent hardcore when it comes to me getting stuff done, already satisfied. Nice. Great. Cool. Okay, so how about we just go for the audio craft then? If this is technically already there, why would I need Torch Vision for audio is my question. Right? There wouldn't be no reason to use Torch Vision for audio. So I'm going to say maybe that was just some sort of secondary error. Oh, it's going to get to the point of failing. I can feel it. Wait for it. Oh. Huh? Oh, wait, Torch Audio, Spacey, hide your core, Torch Data, Torch Visual, Vision, Xformers. These are the things I need. Okay. This is a thing that it was complaining about earlier. So I guess maybe the audio... Oh. I didn't do the capital U. Is that a problem? Well, we're gonna find out. So then the next one is Audio Craft Egg. Oh, Bleeding Edge. No thanks. I just want stable release, please. Alright. Are we actually doing it? Successfully built. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, fucking hell yeah. Sorry for the kids out there. When you're an adult, you can do things like this. Say things. For the excitement of it. What can I say? What can I say? Oh, and there it is. Uninstalling the former Xformers, Transformers. Pip dependency resolver does not currently take into account. Successfully installed though. AIO files, whatever, audio crafts. So some things didn't install, but the things I want installed. So maybe there's like a weird. If you want to train a watermarking model, interesting. Okay, so I should already have FFmpeg already installed, right? Cool, and it's already being used by FFmpeg, particularly. It's a set of files that's for codecing audio in all forms: MP4, WAV, MP3, AVI, Windows Media, Audio, NWV also. Basically every single type of audio codec. It's all packaged together into FFmpeg. However, it's basically just a set of files. I believe there's an installer or third-party installer, but you don't need that. Copy and paste the zipped files of the FFmpeg into a folder. I put it in my C drive, I believe. It's over here somewhere. Right? Yeah, right. Oh, okay. I must have got it through Go or something. I could have sworn I had it in my G drive, C drive. Yeah, I do. I actually don't have it included though. Anyway, FFmpeg exe is the beginning runner for this, and all this is used for is using these DLLs for codecs and such to basically convert one file type to another, basically. Or extract audio from a video, like all kinds of different operations with media like this, which then you can use Audacity on top of it, which can now expand the functionality through a graphical universe interface if you wanted to, as a user, not as a developer. But FFmpeg is a very useful tool. So, that's what that meant. So, wait a minute. I have that. At the moment, AudioCraft contains training code and inference code for music gen, audio gen, a state-of-the-art non-autoaggressive model for text to music, and okay, training code, APR documentary. So I got all the I got all the things set up. Okay. Okay. So then, let's ask Grok the rest of the way. Oh, dude, AI is great, but I think it's gonna take over. It's gonna be horrible. Um, Google's VO3 or whatever, the videos that thing creates, like it's still, if you really look closely, you will notice like the lip sync is a little off, or like the eyes of that person you're looking at, which is not a real person but an AI generated image, is weird and off. So you can still notice AI generated content, video content with this new Google VO3. I just saw some videos, man, and man, we far away from Will Smith eating spaghetti. I'm telling you that. It's impressive. And on the creative aspect of things, it's amazing because now anyone can create a funny joke in a video, right? Awesome. Like a comedian has a really funny idea, he can put that funny idea into the AI generator and create like a 20-second clip about it. Pretty cool. But you know what's the worst part? The world's not just comedians, it's a bunch of scammers trying to basically, well, convince you that they are specifically a person or convince you to give you their money. So I think this is going to be a very bad progression for the human race because the human race still hasn't grown up yet. Um, we're we're gonna have some difficulties with the next few years of internet content. It's it's also going to be a really big case separator for when you see content trying to sell you something or talk to you like I'm talking to you now. An AI doesn't have to take these extra steps to think, to sigh, to express certain aspects of a human trait when they're trying to compile information. They compile so fast they just basically talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. They have to be prompted or to coded to pause here and then keep talking and then make a sigh here and then keep talking, right? To be really, really convincing. Otherwise, if you just say make me an ad or make me a content video on how to set up my Python environment um, with a streamer on the bottom left corner, background that's animated and keeps attention, and then the desktop being shared on this portion X coordinate, Y coordinate area. They could potentially get something similar to what you're seeing here, but like the AI is probably going to be typing like this as he's talking. You're like, oh, first you do this, and then 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 you have all your stuff. And oh, don't forget to go here. Like that kind of weird shit, right? Like it's just not going to look human anymore. There's going to be certain things you'll notice about certain videos that are just not going to look real anymore. So keep that really, really, really closely in mind. Oh, I like this song. But like, this was AI generated. Like you don't have to copyright. You don't have to lock your creativity behind a wall anymore, behind a paywall. That's the great thing about it, honestly. Okay, I lost where I am. Oh, a little chill vibes for a moment. Let me set the next step up here. Ah.
Digital struggles, we pave the way in this bite-sized life we sway. Through zeros, ones, we find our say. In the cloud, we'll dream another day.
Yeah, so some prerequisites. Are we doing this twice? No, it's just the second part of this. Some requirements is 16 gigabytes of memory. I have 8 with shared 16. So maybe. FFmpeg is installed, yes. Torch audio, AudioCraft, good. Alright, so let's check out Python. Guess I'd put it on the AI, no? What's in here? What do I have in here? Yeah, right. What this? TensorFlow training, that's more the training aspect of AI. So let's do music gen. AI music. Let's just call it main.py for now. So, let's do some Python. Since you're here chilling with me now, you get to see a couple of AI integrated Python processes. So import that torch audio that we just pip installed. And from AudioCraft, we get the models, import music gen. Simple enough. From AudioCraft.data.audio, import audio write, so we can write this to a file. Fair. You use the model variable. Well, we're just basically saving this model into a variable. We're gonna get the music gen.get a pre-trained model. It's gonna be the Facebook/music gen small for lower resource. Okay, so maybe we won't need all 16 gigabytes. This might be just like a 8 gigabyte, maybe a 7 gigabyte version of the same bigger model, but let's see. Okay, model dot set generation params duration of the song track. Let's call it 6120. Let's do something simple first. 10. 30. Top K sample rate 250. Top P nucleus sampling for quality. Temperature control randomness. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So let's do the prompt. A deep house track with groovy bass lines, smooth pads, and a groovy bass lines and a 808 drum kit, baby. Let's go. 120 BPM. Okay. WAV, the file type model dot generate. So this is the actual generation part. We throw in the prompt in an array. Progress equals true, not sure, but potentially it's gonna tell us, or it's gonna show us the progress of that specific thing. Okay. Then we have to do a for loop to grab all the bits coming out, I'm sure. Audio. Yep, now we're writing that audio track we just generated. F file type T house IDX value output file name 1 wav.cpu audio tensor. Why is a tensor in the file? Model.sample rate has to still be compatible with the generated sample rate. Makes sense. Strategy. Loudness. Normalize loudness. Loudness underscore compressor. See, this is not just audio write factors, which doesn't necessarily make the track, but it probably configures the writing of the track. It's like an equalizer, right? Like you go into your audio equalizer and you can change different types of the high notes, low notes, treble, bass, all that kind of stuff in there. All right. Give me the bass, baby. Huh? What are you doing? Okay. Oh, what are you kidding me? I fucking hate you. Wait, hold on. Is it working though? I have 311.6. No, I have 311.0, but it's built for 311.6, but it's still going. So I'm not complaining. What's my graphics card doing right now? It's working. It's to actually. It doesn't seem like it's like trying to start up, but oh no, it's like yeah, it's trying to start. So it's like trying to rev the key in the car. It's fucking not working. Okay, it's really trying though. I can see that it's trying, and it's not stopping. So PyTorch with Cuda, this was a problem that I had, right? You have Cuda 2.10 CPU. Wait a minute, what? My PyTorch is not configured with my GPU? Is that what you're telling me? That makes zero sense. I've already configured that sucker out. Hold on. Maybe it's the unconfigured version or something. Alright, Grok. Maybe it could be just an environmental issue again, as per norm. I have Cuda already. Cuda already set up. But currently I'm using the CPU based on the audio graph attempt to create a text to audio track on this error. I mean, is it going? Is it not going? What is it trying? NVCC version. All right, let's check the version. How have I done all this AI stuff before without Cuda? Oh wait, hold on. Was it this computer? Hold up. I might have set it up here. Yes. See, all right, great. That makes more sense now. That makes a lot more sense now. Yep. Perhaps so that means I have to reinstall that torch with the Cuda. First, I got to do Cuda. What about this? NVidia. Okay, so that's fine. That's the current usage of the basically graphical interface, which we can also see in Task Manager. Yo, Jobin. Well, basically, in the beginning, I was just going through the details, which you can go through. I think you can still rewind on YouTube. I'm not sure about Twitch. But basically, went through the environmental variables and how to set up your developer environment, knowing what an environmental variable is. And I kind of that tangent because I always tend to just start a project when I start to teach something. So currently, I'm trying to set up a AI to generate music for me, kind of like the stuff you hear in the background. Uh, Basically, that's it. So I'm installing Cuda on this computer because I had it on this computer, but not on this one. Now I'm gonna connect Torch. Where's Torch? Was it Torch something? PyTorch. I gotta connect PyTorch with the GPU installation, with the CUDA attachment. But I mean, ask any questions based on any of this, and I'll elaborate further. I'm not sure how much anyone knows on the subject, so when you ask those questions, I'm able to directly answer them based on that question. Like, what is Torch, for instance, right? Or what is CUDA? What is AI? But basically, I went from going through some basics on being a technical IT in the programming world, what to be aware of when you're entering programming, which normally isn't just writing code and compiling it. If you're doing like C++, you may have different compilers. C Sharp, you may have another different compiler. Java, you have to set up the Java runtime environment plus the JDK. But it's more of the technical aspect. I have another video going over the basics of programming in the office hours before. So you're free to welcome to enter that video as well. But this one's a bit more on the technical aspects of an IT professional and how it basically is parallel with computer programming. Because in the end, yeah, you can write some lines of codes, man, but sometimes the technical part of it is like trying to set up an environment for like 5 days straight. And I've done this for so many times. I get stuck on certain commands don't work like I want them to. I installed something, but it's not popping up in terminal, which normally means you either have to set up the environmental, there it is right here, environmental commands, variables, or you have to restart or log out, log back in so that the Windows registry takes the changes and makes them official so that the next terminal you open basically has those environmental variables. But again, I mean, just chilling, doing programming stuff. If you have any questions, please do ask. I'm very open to answering as much as I can. But right now we're dealing with some local AI generative stuff. If you want to see some other AI stuff I have on here, I have no problem sharing that as well. I got an image generator, Invoke AI. I got Olama server with DeepSeek, Mistral, Lava, which I'm still trying to figure out how to. Well, no, actually, I did. Yeah. I took an image and converted it to text, but it was very weird. That was one of the other sessions I did, uh, where I used the Lava model to basically take an image and let the AI summarize it for me. But for that particular case scenario, you may need a very large model. You have to kind of think of AI as like, hey, there's different levels of brain size. Basically, a model is just an AI brain, right? And the more you can fit in your RAM, your graphics RAM, rather than computer RAM, the regular hardware RAM, the more it can process at once. And there's some that can kind of like swap brain hemispheres, if you will, and it can fit a 16 gigabyte model in a 8 gigabyte space of graphics card, like an NVIDIA 3070, which I have. There's some like advanced manipulations of it. God, this is going to be downloading for a bit. So right now I'm just installing Cuda right there, 12.01. And that brain, that model that you have here, let me show you the models that I have currently. So I have Lava 13B, which is a what's an 8 gigabyte version size, which means this is the size that it enters into my RAM. So if I run this image to text converter, and my RAM is already like, hold up, there we go. I have a total of 8, currently using 0.7 because nothing is actually happening on the AI side. But if I run Mistral, or let's do DeepSeek because everyone loves DeepSeek, right? It's how you run it directly from your terminal. You don't even need like a interface. Hold on. Oh, serve. Right? Did I wait? Is it on? There's an update. Hold up. Let me restart that sucker. So Olama, that's a Facebook open source. I hate saying Facebook so much. I hate that. I hate that company. It's just even they changed the name to Meta. That still doesn't work well. It's not Meta, man. I see kids on freaking Marvel Rivals trying to say they have a Meta comp in rank, and it's horrible. Um, I'm a gamer. I'm a programmer. I'm a mathematics teacher. I just love to do all kinds of stuff, right? Big on the brain usage. So Olama is a server for those brains. That's it. You download Olama. Here's a command here to pull the brain down, right? First, you list the list is going to be what models you have currently running. You pull a particular brain from the online repository, which does mean you download it. You like directly download it on your computer, so you got to make sure you have that space. As we saw up here, pretty big. 7Bs will be okay. They have their perks. There's a case for they're not going to be the greatest. So there's a case for basically saying, hey, it's what I can fit on my graphics card, so I'll go ahead and do it. But for the most base users, you can use a 7B, which is about 5 gigabytes of space. Pen tester? What code language would you recommend learning? Any tips on how to kick things off? Fair. I would go into sockets with Python. If you want to understand how to penetration test to any system, you want to go into understanding the 7 layers of a socket, potentially how to sniff your network, emphasis. This is a touchy subject, so I have to make sure this is all experimental and educational. But basically Python, it's going to give you the most access to the tools necessary the hardware tools, right? You can still do all this stuff in C++, but you'd have to essentially compile the whole system and probably either use libraries and APIs that already exist, and you have to learn how to use them, or you can create your own with Python. So sockets in Python. Try and find a way to create a nmap. If you know what nmap is, but an mmap alternative with Python, that'll teach you all the things you need to know about what and how to connect to sockets, packet sizes, listening, uploading, downloading, and stuff like that. That's a good start. That's a good start. But subject can be very, very complicated because the networks level is just kind of the beginning. There's more operating system sensitive types of research you have to do. For instance, if you find an exploit on a system, you got to use Metasploit to basically upload and patch it and inject it into the particular system using a potential packet socket injection if it's possible. Otherwise, local installations. There's just so many pieces. But I would say if you want to be a pen tester, you kick things off with sockets and Python. I'd say just learn Python. But if you want to be doing fun things about it, you're going to be doing it with socket stuff. I think one of the first things you can learn in Python sockets is to upload or connect two computers together using the Python socket process, like an nmap basically. So look up what nmap is if you don't. I don't know how much you know about pen testing and what part of pen testing, but if I was to start somewhere, that's where I started back in the day. It would be Python sockets nmap. Was it ncat too? Was that thing? I feel like I had a fever dream about ncat once. No. No. So here's what nmap is, if you don't know yet. Very great piece of software. You can basically use that to analyze your network. I use it for defensive purposes, on top of basically every other firewall and antivirus and anti-spyware and blocking IPs and just my computers are basically Fort Knox. The only thing I haven't done is I'm probably not going to say it because that'll exploit some potential backdoors, but I'm basically a Fort Knox when it comes to my systems. I've locked down any installations until I say that I want them to be installed. Not even the system can overwrite that. And I don't really install anything much anyway. I run them directly from certain available or allowable directories. Is it done? Are we downloading the whole model right now? Reading well, yeah, I think we're downloading. Well, no. Hold on. Why am I doing Linux? God, I should have saw that first. Hold on, this is bad. Great, I was downloading a Linux version of Cuda. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, can I just get there? The AI always fucks me, man. Toolkit, there we go. Oh, that's why. All right. I always download the full version file. I don't normally trust network installations. Rock on, bro. Thanks for the subscribe. I do these on a daily. I might be in and out, but I do have, again, other videos. I don't know how much, let me know how much programming do you have, knowledge do you have, computing do you have in general. I can kind of base it, because I can talk to you now in the one-to-one here as we are, which is actually what these office hours is for. But then as we expand and we have more people in, it's going to be kind of like the average. I got to find the common denominator of everyone and where they're kind of all placed so I can kind of talk to everyone at once. One-to-one sessions are way easier because I can get to know you and I can provide the extra knowledge you need to improve what you already know and piggyback on that. I understand teachers and classrooms fully. 30 kids, all kinds of different knowledge bases. You can't really have a cookie cutter process there. Our school system is a little bit effed. But I mean, take advantage while we're still chilling, right? If you have any questions, let me know what you know. I can kind of base my questions based on your knowledge because that's what I do with my math students. I don't go into teaching something until I kind of like probe my students to see what they know about specific things. How do you do this? Show me how you would approach this. Da 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 da. I get an idea of what they know, where they get stuck, and then I fill in the gaps. One-to-one sessions, basically. Um, I'm a tutor, educator, professor. I used to work at university and college back in Florida, but in mathematics. And then eventually I started doing my own thing. Oh, it's dusty. Where I would teach at tech lessons before they turned that sucker down. Microsoft bought it. I was excited. I thought we were going to the next level. Tech lessons was a pretty cool website. But you know what happened? AI came out. And then a year and a half later, that tutoring website, Microsoft was like, oh, we're going to have to shut it down. Oh, cool. I spent 7 years trying to build up my reputation online for Microsoft to cut the cord. Beautiful, beautiful. So that's how I'm trying to build my own reputation online, my own content, identity, so no one can take it away from me this time. It's been hell. It's been hell. I hate working for other people because they can just throw you out, man. They can throw you out like nothing. And I was excited too. I was like, yes, Microsoft, what's up? We're getting there. We're growing big. I used to work in Microsoft, but in the retail section, and with the technicians in the back. So I'd be in the front selling Microsoft insurance and yada yada, and then go into the back and helping the techs uh, fix the devices, then holding workshops for kids learning how to program in Roblox. No, Minecraft. Minecraft was a key. Before they had those other ones, they had some weird other ones. God, what was that weird little robot that we can program? Anyway, I digress. I'm still downloading this. Okay, so anyway, here's what I've gotten so far, right? So I basically have everything installed that I need. I've got Torch Audio, which I'm not even using. Why didn't Grok tell me to use that? That's weird. Sure, whatever. Torchlight. AudioCraft is the toolkit to use models. So it gets and downloads a pre-trained model, saves it into this variable. We set some configuration parameters. Duration of the track, sampling rate, quality, and then randomness. One, I'm not sure. I'm going to play with these later to see what it's going to generate, depending on how long it takes. The prompt that I'm using to generate that stuff. Then the model generate prompt. Throw in the prompt in an array, then throw it in the generate command. All of these are, by the way, coming from this API. In the previous video, I was defining, or previous office sessions when it comes to beginning programming, I was defining how like the first 15% of all programming is basically the same. Variable, array, if, else, while, for, class, objects, and then try catches. Then you have some tricks like recursion. But in the end, it's basically like, once you know those pieces, those concepts, and how to apply them in JavaScript, because we started in JavaScript, you'll basically know like how to do them again in Python, because Python is slightly different. For instance, here's a for loop in Python. I can technically match it to look like a for loop in JavaScript with the No, I can't. Yeah, they don't use parentheses. I guess they're too complex when it comes to the actual Boolean process here. Enumerate? Did I spell that wrong? Next. Did I spell that wrong? Enumerate. Oh, wait. No, that's not. That's still not going to be enough. So that's not going to work. Let's try it now. I'm still having issues with... I got installed in Cuda. Barracuda. But everything you see here is basically me created. The little mask, not the mask up here, the little mask on the screen, the background stuff happening everywhere. I just like to make random stuff. The music is not my AI, but it is AI, and I'm gonna create my own AI to go within that space. Anyway, I'm kind of digressing. I don't know. This is just a download process, and then I'm actually going into the project mode. So I'm probably gonna call it here. Thanks for joining, though. Check out the other office hours. Check out my Patreon at Super Scholar Chris MIA. You can find the links everywhere, and I'll leave them in the description. But here you can basically do one-on-one with me. I have different types of class support, so you can go to collections, go to academic journal, and here you'll find academic student level supported examples how I teach. From base math, pre-algebra, algebra, college math, calculus, physics with applied calculus, C++, JavaScript programming concepts, Python, JavaScript, computer scripting concepts, two different things. Full stack web development if you want to make your own websites and functions and APIs and servers. Artificial intelligence, which is basically what I'm doing now. I'm still going through LoRa. LoRa needs a lot of hardware backup, but I can do Python RAG pretty well. It's just basically converting data from one form to a vector AI form. And then if you want to do information tech, Linux desktop servers, Windows Home, basically check out my website, my Patreon. Become a Patreon for free if you want to just support me there too. I'll be super appreciative of it. And you can keep up with what I'm doing. So basically it's right. Yeah. Super Scholar, Chris MIA. And I'll call it there. Because now I'm in this project mode and I'm probably not going to be talking too much. I'm probably going to be focused in on something. I'm going to be debugging and potentially I'll make a whole kind of more condensed version because I do this all the time. I start off with a particular topic and I go into it and then I expand into a more technical and then I start doing my own project version of that thing that we were doing earlier. And then, oh, cool, let me try it if I can make the browser do something it's not supposed to do. That's what happened last time with the JavaScript. I tried to open like 10 tabs at once so I can Google, Bing, Yahoo, and every single search process, but there was some weird limitations on opening more than one tab, so I was trying to do that. If you give me a limitation, I'm gonna try and find and break it. But, you know, that's just the way I function. Anyway, I'm in focus mode. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for dropping by. Always feel free to ask questions. These subjects can go in any direction, and I'm totally happy to answer whatever direction. Test me. Test me like Jobin did. He asked me some question about penetration testing on a system. Where to begin? How would you know I knew any of that until that question arose, right? So ask me questions, and then I'll answer. If not, I'll find a way or a source for you to get that information. But most of the time, I'll probably answer it. Some people call me like Google or something. It can be a bit robotic, I guess, but I call it an encyclopedia of information. Anyway, I'm digressing in speech. I'm slurring. I'm going